it's much more talent than people realize. I see it every day, and the video I made was like, look, you have to be okay that by pouring in 18 hours a day and learning everything might only allow you to build a business that makes $100,000 a year.
Right.
There is an absolute misconception that the American dream is entrepreneurship and everybody can do it. The difference between entrepreneurship and football is everybody who's listening right now or watching can start a business. Not everybody can go work out for the New York Yankees. There's a system. There's no system in place for entrepreneurship.
Anyone can do it.
That at 16 or 22 stops you and says, hey man, you're gonna lose money and be miserable. And literally, I'll be honest with you, I'm starting this conversation for quite a noble reason. This is not me to impose my will and say, look how special I am. As a matter of fact, I'd rather think it's been the hard work than the talent. I'd rather think it was something I did versus mom and dad had sex at the right moment. I'd much rather think that. The reason I'm going down this path is there's a recent phenomenon that's not being talked enough about in our culture, and specifically in our world, which is what failure is doing to the young men and women in our space. And, we're sweeping under the rug a couple of the suicides in our space. We're sweeping under the rug the heavy depression and alcohol use. We're sweeping things under the rug. We want to show all the hoopla. I hate what's going on Instagram right now. Everybody living their fake life, putting up pictures of like baby giraffes and like hot chicks and $50,000 cash on a bed and a boat, and painting a lifestyle that is not realistic. And I want to have this conversation because I think that I have a big enough voice to start the conversation about, look, there is a level of talent here, and what we need to all be doing is figuring out what we're best at and going all in on that. And by the way, do you know how much more money the number 2, 7, 15, 44th person at Facebook has than you and I?
Billions.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit disappointed in a lot of ways. One, people that are bottom feeding and like signing up for every ebook and mastermind and course, and they're not talented enough, and they're chasing a lottery ticket, and they're going to get depressed and get sick. Or great kids that have tons of talent who would have been great number 4s and made tens of millions of dollars and had work-life balance, who are being pressured into becoming the next Mark Zuckerberg and are going to fail multiple times in a startup and not really start becoming that executive until they're 32, 33, 34, and learn some things but be behind the ball in a world that they could have been successful in. There's absolutely a ton of kids right now that would have been better off being kids that were in their 20s and 30s and the 80s and 90s, because they would have been consultants and COOs and CFOs and had an incredible life. And instead, they're only going to get really started at 32, 33, and they'll win a lot of experience and they'll have hopefully a lot of fun. But unfortunately, I know a lot of B's and I know a lot of 2s, and that's not for their makeup either. So for me, I have to do this.